everybody to Zeta Global Radio. Now, Zeta Global Radio's Conscious Conversation with me, Lainey Savante Walken. And Conscious Conversations they are, particularly today as we are talking about Archangel Michael, which is I'm just absolutely thrilled to be talking about Archangel Michael and sharing the words of wisdom spoken straight from Spirit through this beautiful human being I've had the pleasure of recently meeting, Reverend Anna Jones, who is here with us to guide us through the who, what, why, the questions you all may be having, the feelings you all may be invoking, and the energy you may be wanting to know more of and embrace when we talk about the archangels, and in particularly this case today, Archangel Michael. So let me tell you a little bit about our wonderful guest here today, Reverend Anna Jones, an internationally known Interfaith Minister, Master Healer, Reiki Master-Teacher, and lifelong Clairvoyant Medium. Anna has been developing her expertise in the field of holistic energy medicine, intuition, and spirituality for over 37 years. She's a multi-gifted modern mystic who has served for many as a teacher of teachers and a healer of healers, and her peers know her professionally as an insightful visionary, an eloquent luminary for holistic living and spiritual enlightenment. So I do believe we are in wonderful hands. Let me just also say that she is also a gifted transmedium who is the author of The Teachings of Archangel Michael, a handbook for humanity. So let me allow the floor to be given over to Miss Reverend Anna Jones. I'm so thrilled you're here. I'm so sacred. This is such a sacred divine appointment, how it's all come together, particularly in regards to this week. So welcome to the show, Reverend Anna Jones.
Thank you so much, Lainey. I am so happy to meet you and so happy to be on your show and to speak on this wonderful, wonderful being, about this wonderful, wonderful being whom I love and who's so near and dear to my heart, Archangel Michael, and on the subject of connecting, communicating, just awareness, raising awareness about the angels and Archangel Michael, which is a significant part of my ministry work. Actually, there's three primary areas of my ministry work, and one of those three areas is an angelic ministry, is what I consider it. As an interfaith minister, I've been an interfaith minister since 1993, but I've been doing this work for much, much longer than that. But I was called to the interfaith ministry because of the different diverse aspects of what my spiritual calling is. And as a modern mystic, which is really how I like to think of myself, I've had so many mystical experiences throughout the course of my life and ongoing that have just helped me so much in being able to see that there's more to our reality, and we're never alone. There are always these incredible connections that we have with each other, that with the planet, and also with the angels. And today I was thrilled when you asked me especially to speak on the subject of Archangel Michael and to anything that I can to share with people. In terms of an introductory way, I do believe that there is a lot of introductory information that is out there. Today, I'm probably, throughout the course of our conversation, going to share things that are things that he's most commonly known for, obviously, but I also want to share some things with all of you that have come through my direct realization and my direct mystical experiences in receiving both clairaudient communication with Archangel Michael, which I believe that clairaudient communication to be in my personal connection for as long as I can remember being alive. And he was one of the angels that I very much related to very strongly in my childhood. I just didn't have a conscious awareness that I was receiving messages directly from Archangel Michael. I knew I was receiving messages from angels. I knew that I was receiving messages and guidance for them in developing my path and unfolding the healing work that I've been doing and unfolding the ministry work that I'm meant to do and unfolding really just the consciousness work that I'm meant to do. I knew I was receiving that from the angels and also receiving messages for them asking me to pass it on. And most of the time it was a lot of times I felt like from archangels and guardian angels, but it really wasn't until this, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but this really transformational experience that I had with Archangel Michael in the early 1990s. I believe it was like 1993, but it was potentially 1994, at a place called Lake Louise, which is near Banff in Alberta, Canada.
Oh my goodness!
Which is one of the sacred
there.
spots. Yeah, it's one of the sacred spots on Earth
stunning.
associated with Archangel Michael. Yeah, so I had this transformative experience. I'll go into it if you want me to, but that really solidified the connection on a conscious level, and like from that moment on, he made it very clear and evident to me who he was and how to recognize him and how to recognize his energy and his presence, and very, very palpable that this was going to be a part of my path, that bringing through teachings about him and from him, again, as a modern mystic, experiencing these mystical messages and these mystical communions and these transmissions that I've been called to be the instrument for, that just get delivered through me, not from me, but just through me, allowing myself to be an instrument for him saying to me that, back in the early 90s, like when that communication became like so clear and so palpable, that him saying to me that I was a part of his Legion of Light on Earth, and at the time, I had no idea what he even meant by that. I'm like, what do you mean, Legion of Light on Earth? And he was saying things to me about becoming a teacher of the teacher and a healer of the healers, and I had been receiving messages, and I'm like, oh, that's been you all this time.
Let me just take it back a little bit, because there are people on this, people who listen to the show who are all different levels of maybe evolved path. And some people have been devoutly downloading, as we say. They're modern mystics. They're sages of the ages, and they've been involved with the connection to Archangel Michael for a long time. And then there are those who are for the first time hearing that angels exist. In fact, I read in your book, in your intro, and I don't know if that stat's the same, but is that true still, that 65% of people polled do believe in angels? Because I think that people are just waking up and they didn't even know there was a whole all-star team led by Archangel Michael. So maybe let's just touch on maybe the percentages and describe that Archangel Michael and his roles and stuff, because his role now connected to you and what you're doing with him is very powerful.
Yeah, as far as I know, that statistic is still in the ballpark. One of the reasons why 65% or more believe in angels is because the three largest religions in the world have a concept of the angels and direct teachings about them. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all talk about the angels and have angels and archangels as part of their spiritual philosophy and theosophy. In addition, there's also the fourth religion of the world, which is Hinduism, and then also the indigenous religions, which all of them, and Buddhism also, all of them talk about there being higher beings. All traditions that I've ever looked at actually have some concept of higher beings that are out there that are working with us. They just call them perhaps by different names. But those three large religions of the Abrahamic tradition, those three primary religions of the Abrahamic traditions, which is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they all have an understanding of the angels and the archangels. In fact, they all have teachings around Archangel Michael. They all name Archangel Michael by name. They all have writings of him, about him by name. He's one of the angels in those traditions that have scriptural references actually by name. So that's one of the reasons why the numbers are so high, plus then all the people that are just interested in spirituality and not religion, people have personal stories. Like you can read about all these amazing stories that are out there of people feeling like they were in an accident and something came to them and saved them, or that they were in some precarious position and they thought that something intervened and stepped in. And there's so many beautiful, amazing stories out there. And of course, Archangel Michael is most well known in our modern day era as a protector and as a guardian. So that's another reason for his popularity in our modern day times, but it's not his only role. And I think it's also good for us to see that in addition to being a protector and calling upon him, which is like one of the things that is recommended, is that we ask that these angels, these higher beings, are there for us. Each one of these angels and archangels play a role. Archangel Michael's role, one of them is as a protector, as one of the highest protectors for all beings on the planet, all people, and for all beings. He doesn't just work with like one individual or even one group. I referenced his Legion of Light on Earth, and that is a more complex conversation, but he works with all people on the earth, and he helps all of us and all beings as well. So he works with the entire planet. And as a protector, yes. As a guardian, yes. Also as a teacher, also as a guide. And what many people don't know is that when you go back into history about Archangel Michael, some of the earliest writings, some of the earliest symbology associated with him are not the sword and the shield like we see in a lot of more modern-day artwork as symbols associated with him. They're the scale of balance and the staff. And the staff of life is what that staff represents. And so he's the carrier of the staff of life, and he's also the carrier of the sword of truth, the shield of protection, and the scale of justice. And that staff of life is a healing tool. And so he was actually originally, long before he became known as the role that he plays as a spiritual warrior and a spiritual protector, he was actually known as a healer. And this is actually a very powerful role that he plays in the world and in our lives. And he's the highest amongst the archangels.
Oh, that was my question actually for you. That was my question next was, is there a hierarchy or kind of a level of like a chief angel? Is he does he lead the legion? I mean, I've always said that in my prayers, and I'm down in my healing work, I've always say calling in Archangel and his legion of angels. And that was just a natural thing to say. And then when I saw your Facebook page, which by the way has 500,000 people on there. So there's obviously a lot of people very interested in this. So he is the head of the Legion?
Well, he is the head of the Legion of Light in the spiritual world and on Earth, and that is all the archangels and the realm of the guardian angels as well. However, in some of the mystical insights that I've gotten from him, I have even worked with angels who are considered to be in other orders, so to speak, that are considered to be quote-unquote higher orders that also defer to him when it comes to the work on Earth, and that he has a major leadership role that he plays. And their hierarchy is not the same way that we think of in terms of hierarchy. We don't really have a hierarchical system on our in our modern day operating models that compares to the way that their operating system is, the way that they function and operate together as a group. So even though I say highest or higher because we kind of lack the language for anything other way of explaining that, he's more of a leader. And this leadership role that he plays for all of the other angels, all of the other archangels. In fact, another thing that's been revealed to me through the studies that I've done, through the mystical experiences I've had, and the research and studies that I've done, is that he actually contains many of the qualities of the other archangels. When you study the other archangels, you'll find there's a lot of crossover with Archangel Michael. It's like, oh, and this is something that this angel and Archangel Michael have in common. Oh, this is something that this angel and Archangel Michael have in common. Oh, this is something that this angel and Archangel Michael have in common. And what they've revealed to me about that and through my realization is that he actually carries some of the qualities and gifts of some of the other angels, and that's another reason why he is their leader. When you look at his name itself, Michael, M-I-C-H-E-A-E-L, the name E-L at the end is an ancient Hebrew name for God that comes from Hebrew, and the first part of the name which has many other pronunciations. It's just pronounced Michael in English. There's many other ways of pronouncing it in other languages. But when you look at that first part, it actually means he who is like unto. So El is God, and in Hebrew, and he who is like unto God is what the actual translation of his name means. So that's another indication, even in his name, of how powerful and how important of a role he is and how elevated he is even amongst the angels.
Beautiful. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Reverend Anna Jones and a special downloaded message and passage from Archangel Michael. You're listening to Zeta Global Radio. We'll be back in a moment. Zeta Global Radio is a proud sponsor of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Florida's monthly community education outreach series. Join an esteemed member-based panel on a variety of topics, including February's upcoming Health and Fitness panel at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral and at the Unity Church of Bonita Springs. Learn from our 4 panelists 4 different perspectives and possibilities for living stronger and staying limber and healthier much longer. Only $5 to attend. Learn from these experts on how you can be a better you, mind, body, and soul. For more information, please visit any of the Facebook pages, which are HCC Cape Coral, HCC Fort Myers, or HCC Naples for event information. We look forward to seeing you there. Additionally sponsored by Natural Awakenings Magazine and Muscle Tuners International. Holistic Radiance Day Spa, formerly Trice Massage Therapy and Skincare, welcomes you to their new location in the heart of downtown Cape Coral, Florida. Specializing in massage therapy, including deep tissue, Swedish, trigger point, and lymphatic drainage, to facials of all kinds, incorporating avant-garde technologies for every skin type. All of their skin and nail care products and services are natural and support the optimum in self-care wellness. Be part of their special Holistic Radiance Day Spa membership club, filled with special offers, discounts, and member-only services. Right now, ZGR listeners has a special offer for you. Enjoy a buy 1 month, get the next one free by visiting their website at holisticradiancefl.com or their Facebook page at Holistic Radiance Day Spa. It's time to be conscious and caring about your own personal wellness. Visit Holistic Radiance Day Spa today for a pampered treatment and to truly become the radiant being your body has been waiting for. Ready to see what's in the cards for you? It's a new year and new goals are being set. Yet what is the roadmap to get them met, realized, and brought to fruition? Hi, it's Lainey Savante Wolkin here, and when I'm not hosting ZGR, I'm working with clients worldwide to bring better harmony, clarity, and purpose. I show you a mirror of what your soul already knows but is waiting to bring forward for healing, transformation, and truly a jump on the next phase of your life. I'm a certified 5th tarot reader, certified theta healer, and I come from a very long lineage of intuitives in my family. My new readers and healing studio is located in downtown Cape Coral, Florida, yet I work with people worldwide doing phone and online Zoom readings. Wherever you are, I could support you. When you are called to the cards, let me support you further with a very insightful look at what fabulous events life has in store for you. After all, the cards don't lie, so let's see what magic is waiting for you. To book a session today, please visit my Intuitive Wisdom Facebook page for more info. Intuitive is spelled I-N, the number 2, U-I-T-I-V-E, the word wisdom. Intuitive Wisdom on Facebook. Thanks so much. I look forward to reading for you soon. Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in here today with myself, Lainey Savante Wolkin, and our special guest, Reverend Anna Jones, who, as we had said earlier, is a worldwide healer, medium, and so many other ways to connect with her, and she'll give her information out at the end of the show. But where we left off before, we were talking about some information, some downloaded messages, and getting to know the personality, if you will, of Archangel Michael, and to share a little bit more for those of you who want to know how to connect more, how to go deeper into your own personal relationship, because he's here for everybody, and allowing Archangel Michael to work in your life in beautiful, magical ways. So what would you like to share next in terms of that passage we talked about off air?
Yes, I will share a passage from the book in which there was a question that was asked during a series of messages that came through, which is what the book actually is. It's a channeled messages. And the passage will help get me into the topic, but I do want to start with just the most basic, however, of how to connect with Archangel Michael. The most basic is to ask. You'll hear this 1,000 times from all different types of angel teachers and angel books, is just ask. They need to know that it's our will. They honor will as sacred. Our free will is sacred to them, and so it is for all higher beings. They keep our free will sacred. So they will help us, and he will help you. He will help to guide you and guard you and protect you and bring you healing and bring you teachings and wisdom. He will do so many things, but he's able to do so much more when he is asked to do so.
So a lot of people want to know, this is my intuition, that they've heard about Michael, now they've known sort of his characteristics, if you will, how to connect and have your own individual personalized relationship with Archangel Michael.
Well, I'm going to read something out of the book, but before I do, I'll just say that the most basic, most important thing for any of us to do in working with Archangel Michael is just ask for his help. It's the most basic thing that any of us can do, but it's very, very important. And the reason being is because free will is sacred to them. Our free will is a sacred thing, and all higher beings will also treat it that way. And this is one way for sure you're working with a higher being, is they honor our free will, and they want us to let them know that it is our will. And so when we ask, it tells them that it is our will. And they're there already. He's already working with us, and he's able to do so much more when we ask him to. That said, however, I will also, because I get thousands of comments and people who send me inquiries, I will also say that the angels cannot do everything for us. They can't prevent everything from happening. They're there to walk this journey with us. They're there to do everything in life with us, not necessarily for us, although there's still so much intervention and things that they can bring when we ask. So that's really, really the basis of where we start in our relationship with the angels. But I want to read a passage out of the book, because I was asked, this book came through a series of 8 different channeled messages, actually, that came through from Archangel Michael in a series of radio shows, interestingly enough. And he was asked, why can't we see them? Why can't we know them? Why can't we see them? That was the question. And this was one of his answers was that we need to really tune in, kind of like a radio dial. Their frequencies are very, very high in vibration. And, where are we tuning our dial? Where are we tuning our dial into? Are we tuning into the lower vibrations, or are we tuning into the higher vibrations? And then his answer about, kind of raising our frequency and tuning in also was this preceded by this piece of information that helps us, really remember that they're there, and, start to, maybe, make some changes in our life by just remembering that they're there. So the one passage I'll read out of chapter 1 actually is, he says, this is a quote from Archangel Michael's the teaching of Archangel Michael. One of the keys to bringing spirituality into this age and to start shifting the way you are thinking and acting is to start thinking, acting, and feeling as if you are in the company of angels. Treat each and every day and each and every moment of your life as if you are in the company of angels. Imagine how different the world would be. Imagine how different your life would be if you acted towards each other and each person in each and every moment the way you would act as if I appeared before you now.
Well, here's the funny thing is that I have all my notes out, and that was the one quote that I highlighted that I wanted to bring up today. And so now you just read, so I was like, well, that was really clear that was the message, because that really stood out for me, is that's something we need to talk about on the show today. And that's, of course, what you just said.
Regardless of whether I or any other angels appear before you with your physical eyes, we are before you. You are in our company at all times. We are with you at all times. So like we are before you. It's like, to act and live and think and be as if they are right there, is what he's saying. Like, to just start making that change in our life, and it will change so many things in our lives and in our world. Just making that change, just to start acting and thinking, not just believing. Believing is one thing, but like acting and thinking and seeing and knowing, and talking and speaking, as if they are before you, because they are, is what he's saying. He's saying, because we are.
I love that. I tell people all the time, when you hear people gossip or whatever, like, really always act as if they are in the room, whether they're seen or unforeseen, whether they're here or they're not here. Always that we are all connected in the circuit, and that it should always be that same maintenance of energy. So that is really important. But of course, when you think about the angels, you think about the highest of sovereignty. And shouldn't we all be embodying the highest of sovereignty? That's what I believe we should.
Yes, and embodying the highest in every way. And this is also what I think he's saying. If we start making that shift and just acting like we're in their company at all times, it's not going to be an ego shift. It's going to be a raise in our consciousness into the highest, and raising our vibration in every way, is what he's alluding to especially throughout the rest of the book.
Now, when people talk about Archangel Michael in terms of not being off planet or not here, was there an actual, like a Saint Michael, an actual living, breathing being who then transitioned, then became an archangel? Or just so it's clear for people that there, was there somebody who lived and then evolved into now becoming an archangel? Or is this somebody who's always just been in the higher realms?
Not with Archangel Michael. There are some teachings that are out there about Archangel Metatron and Archangel Sandalphon being on the earth as the prophets Enoch and Elijah, but not Archangel Michael. He can appear here, and does appear here to people, even though they're with us all the time and we don't always see them. They can appear. They can appear in their mystical forms, which means like their light bodies, their energetic bodies, which are more their true forms. They can appear in their winged forms, which is not necessarily the form that they are limited to. It's just a form that they actually prefer to appear to us in. I asked them once about that, and it's because it has something to do with something about us, they said. There's something that it connects with us, and so they will appear in that winged form. And they can also appear in human form, like not an actual incarnation, but a manifestation where they can fully physically manifest. Archangel Michael can fully physically manifest in human form and look like another human being, touch and feel like another human being, but is not incarnated, and is not like a fully birth to death incarnation type of thing. And usually there's some kind of magical experiences, like, oh, this person just appeared out of nowhere and pulled me out of this burning car, or this person just prevented me from going down this path that would have ended up in my destruction or harm in some way. So that's a good question. I'm very glad that you asked that question, actually, because they are eternal spiritual beings. A lot of people also get confused about how can he possibly be with me, is in some kind of higher place. What the angels have, and Archangel Michael especially, has guided me to do is understand the nature of light, because they are beings of pure light and pure energy. And the nature of light and energy is that when you study, even in our science knows that light is both particle and wave, and in its waveform, light is everywhere at all times. It exists literally in this waveform everywhere at all times. But the moment that you need to measure, or you want to measure it, that you need it to be one specific place, that wave collapses into its particular form and has its particular form, and it can be anywhere you need to measure it in its particular form. So the angels have that existence, because they are pure light, because they are pure energy. That's part of their existence. They can literally be in this waveform everywhere, working with everyone at all of the time, and in this very particulate experience, in their particulate form, when we need them and when any of us individually call upon them.
Great question. Well, I have one more question. Of course, as I mentioned in our graphics, that this is a series, and we'd love to have Reverend have you back many times and talk about some of the other angels when time permits in our schedules. I'd love to have you back. But what I'd love to ask is for those, or at least teach and enlighten for those who are curious about how Archangel Michael is related to blue when you think of like the different rays of light, and we can go on about all the angels and the different rays. And I remember Aurelia Jones' book. I just love that. And I spent a lot of time in Mount Shasta, and everything was about really educating angels about the rays of light. But can you just touch on the blue rays of light and maybe how that connects to Archangel Michael? People are trying to, invoke that color because they want protection, or however they assimilate and relate to that.
Right. So the blue ray is one of the frequencies of white light, and the frequency of strength and wisdom, qualities that are all associated with Archangel Michael. So he's oftentimes referred to as the Archangel of the Blue Ray. And many people who have mystical experiences with him, or dream experiences with him, or intuitive experiences with him, they see colors, like maybe they don't see a winged form or whatever, but they see colors. And the blue color is often seen as associated with Archangel Michael. He also carries other vibrations. I always feel like it's very important that we understand the kind of unique place that he holds, and working with some of the unique energies and frequencies that he holds, that yes, the blue ray does match with, but he's not just limited to just that either. He also works with the violet ray, the blue violet, the combination of the two, actually. The blue violet, which is a specific color of blue, right? It's like a specific frequency within the blue ray, actually, that also appears. And the color of the third eye, which is the color of the brow chakra, which is that deep blue-violet, royal blue color that's associated with him. And so if you see that color on a regular basis, it also may be some way in which he's connecting with you, or sending you strength, or sending you wisdom, and or sending you guidance that is associated with that blue ray and that blue-violet ray that he works with.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. Again, we'd love to have you back, talk about maybe Archangel Michael Part 2, and of course, maybe tap into all the other different archangels and ascended masters as time goes on here on ZGR. So how can people find out more about the book, and as well as learning more about all the things you do, because you're pretty global, and I know you have retreats and all sorts of things, but maybe just give them a little bit of how to get to know you further in the work in the teachings that you do, and then we will just send everybody on a wonderful blessings out for this week.
Okay, well, the book is called The Teachings of Archangel Michael, a Handbook for Humanity, and that's available on Amazon as well as on my website, and people can find out about my private one-on-one sessions that I offer. I offer private angel readings as well as private healing sessions through AnnaJonesOnline.com, and also through my Facebook pages, my Reverend Anna Jones Facebook page, and of course my Archangel Michael and Legion of Light Facebook page, which you referenced earlier. And I would be happy to connect with anyone, and they can also send me questions if they have any questions and would like to know more.
Terrific. All right. Well, we appreciate your time being here on ZGR, and I thank you so much for all your wisdom. I thank Archangel Michael. I thank all the angels in spirit for watching over the show and bringing beloved, beloved teachers and guides like yourself who are here to really enlighten and expand the planet. That's what we're here to do here on ZGR, and we're so glad you were a part of it today.
Thank you so much, Lainey. You're a blessing.
Oh, blessings to you. Blessings to all of our listeners. I hope you found this enlightening. We'd love to get your feedback. Again, share this far and wide. Loud and Proud will be on ZGR on our website, ZetaGlobalRadio.com, of course on social media. And all of you, please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find this information over and over and over and share it with everyone you know. Blessings for a beautiful week. Until next week, take care.